Well, we all know processed food is killing human beings, and of course, the biopharmaceutical complex wants it that way. They want to feed us highly processed, cancer-causing foods, and then when we get heart disease, diabetes, cancer, they also have the drugs to keep us barely alive for the next 15 years, or give you chemotherapy, and they make billions of dollars doing this. It's a great multi-billion-dollar business. Of course, these same diseases are killing our animals as well, killing our dogs, killing our cats. Many of you have written to me here on the show. I've asked many of you who watch this show to talk about the different things that have been affecting your families. You've told me about the cancers in your family, the diabetes, loss of pets in your family, and many of you have had cancer in your family that has devastated your entire family. What if there was something that could stop cancer in its tracks, not only in humans, but also in our pets? One husband and wife team are changing lives, and it's not surprising that the federal government really doesn't want you to hear this story at all. So we are going to share it with you here at Redacted because we want to give a big middle finger to the federal government. Kurt and Kristen Ludlow founded a company called Pet Club 247, and their story is absolutely remarkable. And I want to welcome Kurt and Kristen to the show. Welcome, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having us. We appreciate you so much.
Well, I really have to say, I first learned about your story, I think, more than about 6 months ago, and I started diving into the hundreds of studies that you guys reference and talk about to prove what you guys have discovered, and my jaw really hit the floor, I have to say. And then reading the testimonials from not only human beings who've worked with you guys and have taken some of your products, but also the families of pet owners who have seen unbelievable results. And I think there might be people who might be sitting there skeptical out there wondering, like, well, what is this all about? Can you, at a high level, just tell us what you guys have uncovered and how you are changing lives? And then we'll get into some of the nitty gritty of how all of this works.
Absolutely. It's going to be shocking to everybody, but what we've discovered is that the body's first defense against everything, from the small things like viruses and colds all the way up to those catastrophic conditions that people are dealing with that you referenced earlier, the immune system is the body's best defense. It's the body's best doctor. It's the body's best medicine. It is fully equipped to be able to handle almost every single thing that's happening inside of the body. And so by feeding the immune system the proper foods that it needs to do the work that it was intelligently designed to do, that is how people are making comebacks from all different types of conditions. We're seeing animals that are literally put on animal hospice that are still with us today, 4, 5, 6 years later, at the ages of 19, 20, 21, 22, just because we found the best way to get that natural immune support into their body. And it's the support that their bodies deserve. And like you said, it has been suppressed because you see in not only the human industry, but also in the pet industry, they're doing everything that they can to compromise the immune system. And we have to ask ourselves why. Why is the primary goal to compromise the immune system? And you hit the nail on the head. It's because the immune system is fully capable of handling a lot of these things, which puts many of these manufacturers and companies and businesses out of business, essentially, once the body regains control of itself. So it's essentially kind of trying to keep the prisoners too weak to climb the prison walls, pretty much.
Pouring through the testimonials, it's unbelievable to hear about the human beings that have worked with you guys that have had cancer totally reversed, tumors eliminated, but also pet owners who have had, as Kristen pointed out, pets who are sitting on the couch, they can't even get up and walk anymore. They're on their death sentence, who are now suddenly running around the backyard again. I mean, it sounds too good to be true. Can you talk about what you discovered, the specific mechanism that enabled all of this? I don't want to say regeneration or the sort of elimination of this disease and then triggering this immune response.
Absolutely. One of our partners here with us here in the company, just over 20 years ago, or close to 20 years ago, in 2010, his mother was dealing with a major issue in her lung. and it had metastasized. They did everything they could, in terms of what they do when it comes to a disease like that, and nothing worked out. And so they had given her a short time to live. He was reaching out to friends and family regarding what was going on with her so that they could, of course, call her. And one of his family members that lives in Japan said, look, I want to send something over to you. Give this to her, and let's just see if maybe it helps her. She starts taking it. Within a month, she notices quite a difference. Month 2, she's feeling much better. Month 3, she feels like there's no issues. She goes back to Sloan Kettering, which had diagnosed her 4.5 months after taking it. They find her to be completely NED. They obviously wanted to know everything about it. They supplied Sloan Kettering with that information, and that's where the first study started on this. And now it's been studied by the American Cancer Society, MD Anderson, Loma Linda. It's published in the Library of Medicine. And what they concluded is the type of, what it does for the immune system. And as Kristen mentioned, we know, the most effective way to combat any type of illness is getting that immune system operating and functionally optimally again. And we have seen countless testimonials due to that. Just the stories are remarkable. And so for years, they would get this out to friends and family. They would get it out of Japan. It took forever, 3 weeks to get here. Finally, they said, what can we do to control this? Get it out here in the U.S. And because of all the great testimonials they were getting back. And so in turn, they were just getting it out through their website. And 6.5 years ago, they had lost pets to cancer. And not just them, but 2 of their children. So 4 of them have lost pets to cancer within months of one another. And as you know, just like you had mentioned, the foods, treats, and toys are killing our pets. Yeah. They knew they had something. They found a great study by the University of Pennsylvania regarding pets that were on this were living 3 times as long as the pets that were dealing with cancer. And so they rolled it out. They called us. They said, look, we've got something. We know it's going to do amazing things because we know what it's done for humans into the pet population as well. And it has been remarkable as to what we've been able to experience, the changes we've seen.
We always joke that they tested it on humans first before they found out it was safe for animals.
Right. So this thing we're talking about is a mushroom, right? And it was known in Japan, very hard to get access to. And finally, you guys were able to tap into this. So talk about what this is. I mean, I know it sounds, we always talk about on this show, I think a lot of the cures for what ails us come from nature. And here we have a mushroom that is the heart of all of this. So I was diving into these studies, looking at how this all works, and it's absolutely fascinating. So talk about this mushroom. How did you start to use it in these pet products, and how did it start to affect these animals that were basically had a death sentence?
Yeah.
So 4 days after they sent it to us to try with our own pets who are healthy, they said, look, give them to your pets. It'll keep them, be proactive versus reactive.
And by the way, we did create fun ways to give it to our pets. So through treats and handmade gravies, all human grade with no fillers, nothing artificial in it.
And understand, with this mushroom, it doesn't interact with any medications. You can't overdose. You can't get addicted to it. You can't take too much of it.
There are no side effects.
No side effects.
Yeah.
And so it just happened to be the most potent strain of the 200 plus strains that are out there. And they had a proprietary way that they extracted it. So 4 days after we get it, one of my close friends posts on social media, has to put his dog down. Mm-hmm. So I immediately called him. I said, I've learned about something. We're real excited about it. We partnered up with these guys. I want to, what's going on with your dog? And he said, well, she's had a terrible autoimmune issue for 5 years. He goes, it's gotten so bad in the past year, if she steps on pavement or asphalt, her paw pads fill off. He goes, now she's laying in the corner of our kitchen. Her hair's coming out in clumps. Eyes are whited over. She's got 7 tumors down her size. 2 are the size of my fist, he said. And he said that the vet did not diagnose them as cancerous, but they believe that they are. And he goes, she's 14. Huskies normally live to be 12. So we're very, thankful for what we've had the time with her, but I'm not ready. And I said, well, listen, would you humor me? I'll bring a product over that we have. We're hearing that it's doing incredible things for animals. We know what it's done for humans, and give it to her. And he said, absolutely, I will. And so we bring it over. He starts giving it to her. And I get this call 4 days later, Clayton, and I see him calling. His name's Kurt as well. I said, "Hey, Kurt." He goes, "What did you give my dog?" Now, he said it in a tone that I've never experienced with him, and he's a good friend of mine, right? And I'm like, "Is everything okay?" And he goes, "Kurt, she just jumped on the couch next to me." And I said, "You're really? That's amazing." And he goes, "No, you don't understand. She has not done this in over a year and a half." And he goes, "Do you think it's a mushroom?" And I said, "Kurt," I said, "to be frank with you, you're the first person we've experienced that's had an ill dog, but we've heard many great stories about what it's been doing for both pets and humans." And he goes, "Well, it has to be." And every day that went by, he saw a steady improvement. In fact, they were having to carry her outside to use the restroom. And she started doing it on her own. After 30 days, the paw pads weren't having problems. The hair wasn't coming out in clumps. The crystallization in the eyes cleared up. She was seeing better. She wasn't running into things. And it took about 4 to 6 months for those tumors to be gone. Now, she lived to be almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
Now, and she
Wow.
passed not due to health issues. She passed due to an accident. And that was, the beginning of several different testimonials and the countless ones that we have today as to just what this has done. It's amazing when you get that immune system functioning correctly, what it's capable of.
It's remarkable. As someone certified in pet nutrition, do you see a correlation between how much animals are suffering later in life to what they're being fed when they're young? This sort of processed food. I mean, we see it in humans. Do you see that correlation, guys?
Absolutely. And, you can even look in nature. The animals in nature are not dealing with the same type of conditions that our pets that are domesticated are dealing with. So that tells you it is 100% environmental. There's a great documentary called Pet Fooled that we watch that shows what's in the processed foods and the treats that we're giving our pets, what's in the toys that we're giving them. Think of all the chemicals that we're cleaning with and putting in our yards that's all being absorbed directly into their bloodstreams. We have poor water quality. We have poor air quality. All of these different things are just bombarding our pets and weakening their immune systems. And that's why the average golden retriever 50 years ago used to be 17. Today it's 9. So they're living half as long as they used to live across the board, all different breeds. So that tells us that it's something environmental that we're doing and exposing them to.
Clayton, up to 65% of our pets are getting cancer today. 1 in 3 are getting
65%?
6 million.
65.
Yes. There's
1 in 3 gets allergies.
6 million new cases of diabetes every single year. And guess what they give them? Human medications. This is crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. I see a lot of these mushroom products out there on the market everywhere. And you guys are also certified in mycology. Are there differences between a lot of the products that we're seeing kind of on the market at different stores and what we're seeing on social media? Is there differences? And how does what you guys do different from what we're seeing all over the place?
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, there are over 400 published studies on the power of the Coriolis versicolor mushroom and what it does for the body. And this has been happening. These studies have been conducted over about 30 years. So there are 3 decades worth of studies. And in all this time, like Kurt mentioned, they found out that it doesn't interact with any medication or treatment, can't get addicted, can't overdose, no side effects. So why have we not heard about it? Why is it not
Right.
everywhere? Why aren't we always giving it to our pets and taking it ourselves and eating it? Because it's just a food, right? Why aren't we eating this food every single day? And that's because it works so well for the immune system that all this time they've been trying to figure out a way to mimic it so that they can patent the process and make more money off of it, because you can't patent a mushroom.
Like a
And
synthetic,
so that's
right? Make
why-
a synthetic version of it.
Exactly. So they've been trying to, because it works so well. And, being certified in mycology, the good thing is that people are waking up. They're learning about the benefits of mushrooms and all the powerful things that it can do for the body. This is something that we've been using for thousands of years that we strayed away from, that we're just now rediscovering. And so when you are taking mushroom products, because it's becoming such a trend, a lot of manufacturers and companies are just trying to jump on the wave, and ride the wave, and they're creating products that are not tested for purity. They could have high levels of radiation in them. They could have heavy metals present in them. They're not tested for potency as well. And so it is important that if you are taking these mushrooms, we test ours for purity. We do have the most potent strain. That's actually the strain that's being studied in the majority of those studies that have been done. And we also extract it in a proprietary way to increase its potency. And so if you are taking mushroom products, a lot of times people will say, well, I've tried mushrooms and it helped a little bit, but didn't help a lot. Well, that's because you might not be getting a pure and potent strain. People will try our product and it takes 5 bottles of their product to do what 1 bottle of our product does. And that's
Wow.
just because of the purity and the potency of the product. So if you are taking mushroom supplements, just make sure that it is being processed correctly.
All right. Well, you guys have sold me. I mean, look, you already sold me on it because I was already going through all of these studies and the testimonials are off the charts. And hearing from the human beings that have had cancer reversed and eliminated, some of the testimonials are just shocking, really, really shocking. How much of this mushroom do you recommend that pets and people should be taking every day, like as part of sort of a daily supplement? And I like what Kurt said earlier because it's really about prevention. We sort of wait till people have diabetes, they have cancer, they have these problems, you know, they've fallen and now they need a hip replacement. Well, how do we prevent you from falling? How do we prevent you from getting cancer? How do we prevent you from getting heart disease and diabetes? And as part of a regular diet, eliminating processed food, but also taking sort of a mushroom supplement. How much are we supposed to take every day?
Yeah. Well, it's so important. Preventative healthcare is the most affordable healthcare, right? You're going to pay for it either way, on the front end or on the back end. Either way, you're going to pay. So we have a saying at Pet Club 24/7 that every pet, every person, every day should be eating this Coriolis versicolor mushroom. I want to remind you, this is not a cure for anything. This is a whole food God has provided for us that grows abundantly out in nature. And it's just a food that feeds the immune system. And then the immune system is what goes in and starts doing all the work, course correcting, self-regulating all the systems. And that's the way that God designed it, which is absolutely incredible. So we do have a recommended amount for pets and for people to take that is based off of weight. So for animals, it's on all the packaging of the products. For people, we recommend 1 capsule for every 50 pounds. Now, if you do have an animal or a person that has some health concerns that aren't necessarily life-threatening, you can't take too much of this. As a matter of fact, the more you take at the beginning, the better it will be for the immune system because it can really feed it and give it that support to start kicking into action and prioritizing what needs to happen in the body. So if there are some health concerns, we recommend 2 to 3 times the suggested amount. If you are dealing with something more catastrophic or life-threatening, then we recommend 4 to 5 times the suggested amount just to start. And then as the body starts turning around and you start progressing, then you can go down to the recommended amount.
What I love about what you said is that it's not the mushroom itself that's doing any curing. It's your own body, which is incredibly powerful. It's your own body that's doing the curing. It just needs like a catalyst, right?
Exactly. It's a catalyst. It's a perfect word.
This is powerful. Now, what about you? So you guys have set up a special link for us. We're going to put it up here on the screen. So anyone who wants to take it, I'm going to start, giving it to our dog Grover, and anyone out there who's interested in for their pets. But we'll put up a special link here on the screen. Just go to redacted.inc/pet club, and you can learn more about it. We'll have a link in the description as well. What about humans, though? So you talk about the recommended doses. Are you guys able to provide? If I go to this link, am I able to get some stuff for myself as well, or do you have a different place where you should be going for that or recommendation on that front?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the website, even though it's a website for pets, you will see in the shopping section, there is a section for humans where they're able to get the same mushroom for themselves as well. And the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, every pet, every person, every day should be at least taking that. That's the green bottle that you'll see on the website called the Inforce. And they can absolutely get it through there. And anyone that does go to your specific link will get a 15% discount that's already naturally built into the website. So they don't have to remember any special codes or anything like that. It's just already built in.
Okay, great. So if they go to our link here, redacted.inc/pet club, they'll get 15% off, which is amazing. So, well, guys, I also on your website too, you have all sorts of testimonials and different studies as well, right? So people want to, before they ever buy anything, they can really dive into experience different testimonials as well, right?
Absolutely. And there are links to several research articles as well. And when you read the research articles, it links to the studies that are referenced. So for anyone that wants to go take a deeper dive into the information and find out what's really happening out there, that's all available on the website also.
Well, wonderful, guys. I'm thrilled. I love, American company, American ingenuity, seeing a problem, helping other people, and answering the call to really help. And that's really amazing to me. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you so much for your company. And thank you so much for what you're doing for humans and for pets. Thank you, guys.
Oh, it's
Absolutely.
a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much to Kristen and Kurt. And, there's one thing I forgot to bring up, because we're really focusing on the pets here, but when you start to dive into the testimonials on people that have like rheumatoid arthritis or tendinitis, there's so many testimonials from humans that have been able to trigger this immune response and reverse rheumatoid arthritis and tendinitis and all sorts of different things. Folks who suffered from PTSD, for instance, the Walking Man, who's become infamous for walking all over many continents except Antarctica, and folks who have suffered from long-term PTSD, taking this and seeing a dramatic reversal in that. So anyway, it's just really remarkable, and I'm going to actually tell my mom about this because she does have the arthritis and she's tried a whole bunch of different things. So I'll let you guys know how that goes with her and the arthritis as well. So check it out. Anyway, I think it's unbelievable, and I love this American couple doing these amazing things. So thanks to them.